Hey everyone, how's it going? I wanted to talk about a couple things tonight. We're going to look at the 20 stocks in our trade list or our watch list. We're going to talk about the SPY or look at the SPY, look at the Qs and look at the IWMs and see where personally I think we're going to go. We got a stimulus deal. Um, so they agreed on the stimulus package, which includes $600 payments to people based on your income, similar to last time. Now they just need to vote on it. Markets originally were up quite a bit. Now they're basically flat. Um, it'll be interesting to see what that is in the morning. I was hoping for more of a bang, but who knows? It's a short week. It's going to be a relatively quiet week with Christmas coming up. Um, so I would expect a lot of traders to be out of the market, and especially as the days tick by, a lot of the traders taking off and trying to enjoy the holidays. So what I did, eh, so we're going to talk about the 20 stocks and just look at them. We are going to look at Dow made a pretty awesome overnight trade in X. Um, and I want to talk about, unfortunately, I misled him. I thought that X was gonna drop and bounce. But I want to introduce the Greeks as they're referred to. Just kind of briefly touch on them, and I'll point you in a direction of where you can look for more information. Um, and I want to look a little bit at TOS for you TOS traders, get an idea of how to use the site. Um, so without further ado, what I did, I took these 20 stocks and actually the one SPY, and I made a watch list. Now you can link and notice this red, and this red. So as I click on them, and actually these are alphabetical order right now. When the day starts, what I do is I click on the net change to put the um, those stocks in the positive at the top and the negatives on the bottom, just to kind of see where they are. But for now, we'll kind of go through these alphabetically. Some of these I've seen before, some of these I haven't. Um, but you can put these links wherever you want on the trade tab, in the charts, in the quick chart, in the news, that sort of thing. So we'll start with AMD. Um, Relatively flat chart. Um, ADX is in the middle. Buyers are coming down, sellers coming up. Um, I think this is dependent on the market. If we have a bad day, this could drop, but look at how close um, these averages are, and they're in line, meaning the 10 on top, the 20, and then the 30. So like I said, it's been relatively flat to allow the averages to do that. Um, Amazon. Amazon is in a daily squeeze. It's been in a squeeze for a while. Um, and what that means is that the Bollinger Bands have squeezed into the Keltner channels. We can see that if we want. Um, Add a study, Bollinger, Bollinger Bands, add a study, Keltner channel. Um, so as you can see, right here, actually it's right here, the Bollinger Band squeezed inside of the Keltner channel, and it squeezes on both ends. Um, Now, if you notice, it's kind of splitting hairs, but we're getting awfully close to this firing. Right now, the sellers are in control, or the sellers flip control with that crossover. So it'll be interesting to watch. And this type of indicator, this TTM squeeze, um, can be done with a scan. You can scan for these things. Um, it's a custom study, and we can edit this to look at it. Um, Edit. So the Bollinger Bands, the upper band um, is greater than the Keltner channel. This is actually probably when it fired. Um, yeah. So this is when it's in a squeeze. This is when it fired long. So the Bollinger Bands from one within 2 bars is less than the Keltner channel's upper band. And then the current upper band is greater than the current uh, Keltner channel. So let's edit this one. So the Bollinger Band upper band is less than the Keltner channel's upper band. So within 2 bars, I believe, where is that set? Offhand, I don't see it. Hmm. Anyway, I'll make the video and then I'll see it and I'll be lost. But like I said, you can scan for those things, those type of things, either through a scan directly or um, creating ThinkScript. This, an option scan, days to expiry is less than or equal to 7, means that it has weekly options because most of us in the 5-minute rule are weekly option traders. Um, so anyway, I think this, although it opened at the high and Friday was quad witching. And for those of you that aren't familiar with it, it happens 4 times a year, end of the quarter. Um, the monthly expiry, monthly options expire. Um, it's the end of the quarter. Um, and in this case, it was the end of the year. Um, I don't know if you know what the fourth one is. So being quad witching, it kind of throws things out of whack. Things tend to move more. You tend to get more volume. Um, but we opened at the high or near the high. We sold off, and then the buyers came in, which is a good bullish sign. However, it still needs to make up this candle, and it looks like, um, it's up, retraces up, retraces up. That would be my guess. But I would pay attention to this squeeze. If this turns to sellers and squeezes short, it could move. XP has a dividend coming up. And let's get rid of these Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels to clean things up. I should get rid of that high-low 5 because it doesn't matter, um, but that's okay. So again, it took had a red day Thursday, red day Friday. Sellers are definitely in control. It does have a ways to move either down, has more ways to move down versus up. The squeeze indicator is rolled over. Um, so we'll see where this goes. BNTX looks like it put in a floor. I should probably clean up these drawings as we go along. Um, looks like it put in a floor, so you can use that as a stop. Um, ADX is relatively flat. Um, let's see what it does. If it can make up this candle. But, we've seen some damage to the 10 SMA, may cross the 20, but they're stacked in an order. I mean, it's trending the right way. CGC, pot trader. This is bearish, and look at that little red indicator coming through. Um, but again, we've had some flats and flat here. Your ADX is coming down. So I don't expect much movement. If anything, let's see if it can find a floor at these bottom of these candles. Cliff, one thing that I like to trade, seems to move on Friday, move 3%. And the options are relatively cheap. ADX is still quite high. We're overbought even though we sold off on Friday. And we're kind of at that 10 SMA. So let's see if we can bounce off of that. Salesforce. Um, this one's kind of interesting. Um, if you recall, we had earnings 2 weeks ago. Gap down, came up into the gap, but sold off. And you can honestly go back and look at what type of news hit on the 9th. But we're approaching that high again. So let's see, the high on 12/2, 226. So we closed Friday above that, above this high. So we're back in the gap. Excuse me. And let's see if this 10 SMA can curl up again. Had a nice day. Did have some pressure selling, but the buyers came in and eventually closed above where it opened. Disney had an explosive day. This was due to Disney Plus and their subscribers, and you saw that back in the day with Netflix. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I love Disney Plus. I've got 5 kids. I was blown away this weekend by The Mandalorian, if anybody else watches it. Um, I'm not going to spoil it, but it was awesome. Um, so if you're interested, if you like Star Wars, watch it. Um, so after this gap up, we've had a relatively flat day, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what's referred to as an NR5, or a narrow range 5. When these highs and lows all close within the first high and low, that creates a pattern, and that pattern can move. If you're interested, Google NR5 stocks. NR5. And I don't see any that I like. Look at NR4 and NR7. High and low range is very small in comparison to other candles in the stock. Usually what I think this indicator says is that eventually this will explode. What I'm surprised is that we haven't gone into a squeeze because this looks very narrow. Facebook in a squeeze for a while, relatively flat. Let's see what this can do. I had a green day on Friday, which after what I saw was pretty impressive. I think everybody, or I was waiting for Congress, never came. So let's see what this squeeze does. Google, this is quite bearish. Let me get rid of these. Well, let's hold off on getting rid of these. Um, Sellers in control. Our size on the downtrend, not oversold. Look for a move back to this level, this 61% Fibonacci level. But if you notice this floor right here, and I think this is what we're looking at. So once we gapped above it, this has been support. Gap, so we came down, tested that support. I should throw a line in there. Uh, Whoa, was that a line? Hopefully that was a line. Nope, doesn't look like it. And let's just throw that right there. Distinguish it between other things. Let's color it. And let's dash it. So let's see what this does. It's right on the support level. Um, what I would do is I would put a buy below this and expect it to drop. And let's get a closer look at this. Expect it to drop down to the 1670 level. So that's 60 points. 60 divided by 16, let's call it 20, is 3%. So see what it does. But this is pointing to bearish. Myrna, I know Alan was looking for approval on Friday. It never didn't come until after the market closed. I would be bullish on this because they're starting to ship vaccines for this one. Let's see if we can move back up. First get clear of this, and then clear these, and then eventually move up to that level. Netflix. This is actually a bullish chart. Continue to make new highs. We're a little extended, but not greatly. We're not overbought. The ADX is increasing. This actually is a pretty good chart. So I would watch this bullishly, especially if the market can be bullish tomorrow. And it can continue to move up. NetEase. Wow. I wonder what happened to NetEase on Friday. NetEase unveils strategy to boost quality music content. Had a very bullish day Friday. Wish I could have seen it. I'm sure this at ADX will increase. Let's see if we can pop above this level. But again, that's a nice 4.27% move on Friday for a day that was negative. Pfizer, it's been taking some heat. I think as news comes out with people having difficulties with the vaccine, I think this will continue to take a hit. Had a relatively quiet day here. See if it can support this level. But again, with Myrna coming out with a vaccine and news of issues with the Pfizer vaccine, not necessarily issues, but post-vaccination triggers, stressors, those sort of things. You know, oh my God, we saw there was a video floating around where a nurse took the vaccine and then fainted. That's not good news for your vaccine. And you know, with the way conspiracies have been running wild, that only furthers the craziness. RAD. RAD took a pretty big hit, dropped down to its 10 SMA, um, closed below the 10 SMA 2 days, 3 days ago, but bounced back and actually had earnings. Um, Earnings gapped up and then fell off. Um, so we'll see what this can do. If I had a gun to my head, I would be bearish, only because we closed at the low here on Friday. And although we got an earnings boost, um, it's quickly coming back to those levels, that pre-earnings. Um, RTX, this is a bearish chart. The 10 has crossed below the 20. Let's see if it can eventually cross below the 30. Red little indicator here. Sellers are in the move. Um, where could we end up? We've already broken this support. Um, we gapped up, hit resistance here, and then eventually broke through. So resistance is resistance until it breaks through and becomes support. So let's see if we can move down to that level, that 67.85 or that high 67 level. Um, but again, this ADX is trending down. Sellers are going to cross over the buyers. I'm bearish a little bit. Simon Property Group. This is quite bearish as well. They have a dividend coming up. Um, I I asked to add this to our trading feed because I noticed um, some news on it. Um, I feel because of COVID, retail is in a position of hurt until they figure out curbside, until they figure out delivery. Um, Stores are going to be uh, in a hurt, in a pain, are going to feel the pain. And Simon Property Group um, owns the retail that those stores sit on. For instance, malls. They have a portfolio of retail mall areas and things like that. Um, I wanted to point out something um, eventually. Um, Rents will likely need to adjust as well, um, which is not good news for those companies such as Simon that are getting the rent. Um, so, like I said, this is a bearish chart. Let's see if we can break down to this 82, high 82 level. Um, Had a very bearish day yesterday or Friday, closed at low. Sellers are going to cross over the buyers. Um, It'll be interesting. The ADX looks like it's falling off. If that's the case, then it'll kind of slowly drift down. But it'd be one to watch. I'm going to skip over the SPY. Tesla had a bullish day. You can read into what adding Tesla moved from the Russell 1000 to the SPY, or no, to the S&P 500. Um, It is now 1.5% of the SPX. Um, I believe what it basically did was add volatility to the SPX and by extension the SPY. Um, Huge volume on Friday. Um, we'll see if people take profit from that. But this chart is bullish. I'm not a big trader. I'm not a big fan of Tesla because it moves quite a bit. Um, And as a personal note, way back in history, I used to do spreads on earnings. And I used to do basically two standard deviation spreads, and Tesla was one. So I put a bullish, um, I think it was a bullish. I'm trying to think of which way. No, a bearish. This was back when Tesla wasn't making any money. I put a bearish spread on Tesla, and it blew through earnings and moved like three standard deviations, which was virtually unheard of. So I've never gotten over it. Um, it's a huge company or a huge um, equitable position on the SPY now or the SPX now, and um, quite big, too big for me to trade. UAL was just recently added. This is a bearish chart as well. We've broken through this. No, actually, this was never really support. It was resistance for a while. Broke through it, but we never really held that support. So again, the sellers are going to cross over the buyers. It's got a long way to go before being oversold. Um, I would like to see this 10 SMA cross below the 20 and 30. Um, maybe make a move down to here, um, almost 43, but we'll see. The last one was X. And I think I got hurt on X. I was, no, it was Cliffs. For Cliffs, I wanted 14. Um, it gapped up. I never got this. I bought them on Wednesday. Held them overnight to Thursday. It gapped up in the morning, but quickly sold off and I couldn't sell. So then I held them overnight again till Friday and basically ended up with a total loss on that. Um, I did trade options at the end of the day Friday to make some profit. But back to X. Um, Dow got in at the end of the day Thursday, I believe, and held overnight. Um, X guided down. Um, and there's um, so many news things. Fourth quarter guidance. Um, Stillmaker revised down. I don't know where it is now. Oh, adjusted loss about 85 per share in quarter four. They actually don't report till February. Um, and analysts polled were expecting 54 loss or a loss of 0.54. So that is 30. Um, that's quite a jump or quite a move downward. So they got punished for it. Um, I expected them to sell off and then regain some of that. And if you look at Friday, they were down 9%. Um, I expected, so Dow had puts going overnight. I expected them to drop and then, and basically the buyers come in and try to rebound. So I told Dow to sell it at the beginning of the day, his option. And I did it for several reasons. One, because I got burned on Cliff on the other direction. You know, it gapped up and sold off right away. I expected um, X to drop, gap down, and regain or bounce. I talked with Alan Thursday night through IM, and he was kind of under the same impression. Um, I can get rid of this alert. Um, so there was that going. And lastly, we trade weeklies, and Fridays um, are when theta, um, Fridays is when theta takes the most out of your option. Um, Let me try to look at something. I'm going to introduce you to some of the Greeks. And if you want, um, you can, whoops, meant to open one, not trade one. Let's see where it is. Yeah. So, and honestly, you can go to anyone but the Greeks. There's delta. There is, um, look how much they have in delta. Did I miss theta? Um, there is theta, and there is vega, there's rho, and there's gamma. For you TOS traders, if you go in the trade tab, um, and this originally was set to this. I think it was this one. This is how I normally look, but you can change these. You can customize them and add columns. I have a column for um, delta, gamma, theta, vega. If you look at, so let's look at delta first. An at the money option is going to be a delta 60 or more. And usually think of this as the probability of your option being in the money. Another way to look at it is as if the stock moves $1 on the 17 calls, for instance, the option is going to move 60 cents. Uh, as you get in the money, these deltas increase. Theta is how much you are going to lose overnight, as this is basically time decay. You pay, let's assume everything else is constant. You pay for time. Let's say that, let's say X is at 17 on Monday. Um, your option is going to be 50 cents. On Friday, this option is going to be a lot less. If we look at that website, um, they have a graph of theta, and this is days to expiration, but it's the same for weeklies. And I'm going to show you something else. And let me expand this so you can see it. Um, so this is days, and this is price. And where they have a curve, and what this curve does is it starts off and then it increases dramatically. Normally, however, what you see, and again, assuming that um, and it starts at 100, I believe. Oh, no, it starts at, I don't know. Um, undo, is it going to undo the whole thing? What normally happens is it starts off on Monday. Monday night, it drops a little bit. Tuesday, drops a little more. Wednesday, drops more. Thursday, and over Thursday night, it drops quite a bit. And as the day goes by, you know, it comes over, and then afternoon comes and it drops significantly. Um, so this is where the risk of holding those weeklies comes in. Um, and like I said, you can read up more. Vega, Think of Veda as a Greek who's a little shaky and overcaffeinated. It's basically the amount the price will change based on the implied volatility. Um, doesn't have an effect on the intrinsic value, whereas these two do, the delta and the theta. Vega does not. So delta and theta are going to determine the price more than gamma and vega. And honestly, I don't think they even mentioned gamma in this. And we can look at gamma later. So basically, as you get a stock that increases in volatility, stocks that come closer to their earnings, um, you will get an increase in vega. Um, so hopefully that helps. But the big two are delta and theta. So let's look at option. What did I want to look at? Gamma. Um, Rate of change of its delta. So it is the change in the delta in response to a 1 point move of the underlying stock. So as the stocks get closer into the money, your delta is going to increase. Um, and this is not a good. Um, so notice, if you take the $20 stock, let's say this, so the stock right now is at 17. As this goes up to 18, your gamma, your amount of delta is going to go up 7. As you get closer, let's say it's 19, now your delta is going to go up 14. So as you get closer to being in the money, this is going to, your delta is going to increase. And as they're more in the money, so what I tend to do is to pick 1 or 2 levels off of at the money. And as the stock comes into the money, or as the stock approaches the strike, this delta increases dramatically. So I hope that helped. As far as the Greeks go, like I said, you can look more. All you got to do is just Google option gamma, option delta, option theta. You can go into this option playbook to meet the Greeks. Options basic, meet the Greeks. Um, so feel free to look further into that if you want. So now let's look at what the SPY did. Had a red day. Buyers did come in, which is a somewhat bullish sign. Made an all-time high on Thursday, but then gapped down and sold off before buyers came in. I think this is up to the market. Right now, it's not looking good. And I wish I knew the futures for the Qs and the, what happened there? Let's first of all, gosh, get this off a linked. So we were looking at the SPY. Oh my God. And I wanted to look at the futures. This is an all-time chart. Time frame, intraday, 1 day, 5 minute. Let's get all these studies off of here. So, um, so we gapped up. Um, I'm guessing when the deal was made, the coronavirus deal or aid package, and now we're slowly selling off. We're negative, barely. Um, so let's see where this goes. Um, the Qs, another similar pattern, but the Qs did make a high. I don't know if it's an all-time high. I'm guessing it is. Um, before they sold off and buyers came in. Let's see if we can find this out. Um, futures, futures, NASDAQ. Let's try this. NQX. So let's try that. Nope. Well, I'm not going to waste time because this video is getting long enough. Finally, the Russell, the risks, the small caps. Again, made an all-time high, I believe, before selling off. Did close towards its low, is overbought. Um, let's see if we can retrace back to the 10 SMA. So anyway, hopefully this helps. Hopefully you guys um, had a good weekend. Hopefully I will see you in the trading room. Right now we are at open house. Um, and I believe come the beginning of the year, we're going to go into paid subscriptions, and I hope that you join. If you didn't know, I am one that will do what I can to help. So have a good night. See you tomorrow.